okay, Mr. Kazootie. Come here, don't be sad. Come here, big boys don't cry. Come on, be a big boy. Be a big boy. Be a big boy. That's better.
I try to laugh about it, hiding my tears in my eyes, 'cause boys don't cry. Boys don't cry. I'll break down at your...
Ladies, gentlemen, bunt crazy teachers, welcome to Sabrina's Witch Trials, episode 3. I'm Alex Adujo, and of course, this is a show where each week I take a friend back into the mid-1990s to rewatch, review, and reminisce all about everybody's favorite Friday night spellfest, Sabrina the Teenage Witch. I've already told you who I am, and I've got a special guest this week. It's not media maven Chris Conkers from chrisconkers.com. I'm just giving her a plug anyway because she's a nice person, I guess. It's a person who I've known for basically my entire life. My life minus one is how I remember it. I don't know. He doesn't have a specific title, so I'm just going to give him one now. He's the Prime Minister of Germany, Mike Casas. Mike, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty well.
Good. How are the people of Germany, which you now represent?
I was just going to say, I didn't bring any schnitzel for anybody, but
Man, I mean, you are going to be making all the Dusseldorfs. We're going to get so much bad publicity from the German council, who I imagine exists.
Oh, yeah, because I don't have a German accent.
You don't.
And I'm not German.
Thankfully, though, you didn't put on a German accent.
You know what, though? I love beer.
That's true.
And pretzels, which I'm actually having.
We're drinking some beer right now,
Yeah.
but we're drinking domestic. So
Yeah, domestic and light. Sorry, guys. Sorry, Germany.
we are pussies. Mike, we've known each other for, as I said, 23 years now.
23.
We're pretty good friends.
Pretty good.
I mean,
Yeah, I don't know.
I think I wish I could say I have better. It's like, no, I don't have many friends, and you're pretty much my best friend.
Right.
We both share a love of many things. Beer, as we said.
Nice.
We don't like. You like potato chips. I don't. So
Oh,
basically, it's just beer. You like chocolate?
I love chocolate.
Good. We both love chocolate.
Yeah.
And we also have TGIF shows,
Oh, yes.
right?
Oh, yeah, that's what I grew up on. That's what I watched.
Best thing every Friday night. Who
Absolutely.
needed friends?
Couldn't go out, so I stayed home and watched TV.
I have vivid memories of there was a Halloween, I think it was Halloween 97, where my brother and sister went trick-or-treating and I was too young to go, so I just stayed home and watched the Halloween episode of Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
Halloween episodes of anything are the best.
Yeah.
Simpsons, but we're just sticking to TGIF, so...
And one specific TGIF show, Sabrina the Teenage Witch, this is Sabrina's Witch Trials.
Oh, yeah.
Give me your earliest memory of Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
My earliest memory was actually, we just spoke about it before the show, was the Brian Austin Green episode.
Yeah, a great one.
I remember that because I was pretty young.
Mm-hmm.
I was 6, 7, whatever. And I thought how crazy it was that you can put bread or dough in the oven and a human comes out.
And definitely factual, too.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. So I tried it and I burnt the house down. It was terrible. We had to move.
Dough everywhere.
Dough everywhere. No Brian Austin Green, though.
No one ever wore that leather jacket you had lying around. Yeah. God, what a great episode. We're going to be coming up on that one in a couple of weeks.
And I didn't even know it was the first season. So,
Yeah.
you know, I've been watching it since the beginning. So.
That first season has a lot of great episodes. Earlier today, I was actually thinking of my earliest memory of us being friends. And at this point, we must have been friends for a while because it must have been 1997 when Men in Black 1 came out.
Right, yeah.
Because I remember you had a Burger King Men in Black toy and we were playing with it on your steps.
It was the...
where the thing would pop out of it?
No, I had the device where he uses to
wipe the memory.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, but I think
I might have had another one, yeah.
I think you had
'cause
one
I was
where it was
fat and I went to Burger King a lot.
Big fatty with his fucking Burger King
I used to
Kids
get
Club.
2 kids meals, and if I got the same toy, I used to get a third.
More like Burger King Kids Chub.
Oh,
You know
yeah.
what I'm saying?
That was me.
Hashtag Burger King Kids Chub. Yeah, I remember.
So what
that.
it was the alien or something came
It was
out?
I think it was like a car, and it would come. It was like a thing where you would press and it would pop out.
Oh,
of
yeah. It was the car that they had the turbo button.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah,
But my favorite one was the memory wiper.
thing.
Yeah,
those are always
because I used to think it was real. And
Yeah. Right
I
after
was-
you made your fake Brian Austin Green,
Yeah.
you wipe everyone's memory about burning the house down.
Yeah. That's
Man
right.
with a plan. Mike, today we're talking about a very special episode of Sabrina's the Teenage Witch. here on Sabrina's Witch Trials. Episode 3, The True Adventures of Rudy Kazootie. A weirdly long title, but before we get into breaking this episode down bit by bit, I want to first thank everyone who's listened to the first 2 episodes of Sabrina's Witch Trials. As I said in the first episode, it's a labor of love, and if you guys weren't listening, I'm not going to say I'd kill myself, but I'd be a lot less alive. No, I'm kidding. But thank you for listening, and please keep giving us feedback on Twitter, on SoundCloud, everywhere you can. Facebook, facebook.com/Sabrina's Witch Trials, Twitter, at Sabrina Podcast, all those places. Let us know what you think, what you want to hear more of, who you want to hear less of. That Al character.
More Mike and less of Al.
Story of my life. Let us know all those things wherever you can. But before we get into the episode bit by bit, Mike, I want you to give me 7 words, specifically 7, no more, no less, which describe this episode of Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
Okay, so does it have to be like a well thought out sentence, or can it be like literally just 7 different words?
It's got to be a good, solid sentence.
It's got to be a sentence. Yeah. Okay.
Noun and verb. I think that's what is required
Subject.
for full sentence. Yeah.
Whatever. Exclamation point.
I never did well in English.
Yeah, exclamation point or period.
Here. Yeah.
All right, let's see. I wish you would have given me a heads up before the show.
I never do.
I know, thanks. Now we're going to spend 30 minutes in awkward silence.
I'll cut it out, but the funny thing is last week was Chris's 2nd episode in a row, and she still forgot.
Okay, so...
7 words to describe episode 3. And while you think of those 7 words, I can tell you, viewers, that this episode aired originally October 11th, 1996. It had 14.3 million viewers, which was actually a bit of a drop from the episode prior, and 9.3 rating with a 17 share. So that's pretty impressive. 17% of the people watching TV at that time on that day were watching Sabrina the Teenage Witch. Pretty good ratings. TGIF pulling them in.
All right, I think I got it, Al.
What do you got, Mike? 7 words.
So obviously it's not the best sentence because you only gave me 7 words, which 7 is my favorite number.
See,
you can tell.
You're wearing a shirt with the big number 7 on it. So
exactly. So
I picked randomly.
Oh yeah. So I have episode was weird. Harvey has great hair.
That is like an accurate description of the entire series. But yes,
my God, he has great hair.
It is true. I mean, you don't really realize until you go back and watch an episode of Sabrina, but man, for the time period and even for now, he had some pretty great
And it
locks.
holds up. Like, people have that hairstyle.
Yeah. The sad thing is now, Nate Richard, who played Harvey, he shaved
Bald.
his head.
Bald, right?
Bald.
Yeah, I actually saw a picture of him like a couple weeks ago. And because they did like a Where Are They Now on Yahoo or something like that. Mm-hmm. And I saw a picture. I was like, oh no.
Bald.
He looks like such a nice guy though. But he's bald. So
he's in a band now.
Can't be that great.
Bald is one of my uncles. The bald one. Let's get into this episode.
Sure.
Very good 7 words to describe it. The episode basically starts out with we open in Sabrina's kitchen and her kooky aunts are doing a puzzle. Really enjoying a Hindenburg puzzle. Sabrina comes home from school and basically these shows really seem to show how whiny Sabrina is because it always opens with her complaining about something. Today she's complaining that there isn't any ice cream in the freezer. Hilda reminds her that, hey, idiot, you're a witch, and zaps some ice cream into the freezer. Right after that, Zelda, being the guardian here, and not the unfunny fun aunt, zaps the freezer door shut, reminding her that she shouldn't eat sweets before dinner. Bit of a dry opening, not really a lot of comedy in it, but what did you think of this opening, Mike?
Okay, so the first thing that popped out to me was Aunt Hilda and Aunt Zelda's hairstyles.
Yeah.
Right? So remember, this is me just now watching the show since I was literally like 8 or 9 years old, maybe 10, whatever. So rewatching it, I thought it was pretty funny. So I noticed their hairstyles. They had the classic 90s soccer mom hairstyle.
Oh, yeah. Especially Zelda.
Yeah, exactly. Zelda. Oh my God. They had the bob, the Rachel. I guess that was the haircut, the hairstyle in the 90s. And it just stuck out to me because I remember later on in the series, they grew out their hair a little bit.
Yeah.
So
I think Beth Broderick throughout the series just looks pretty good consistently.
Right.
Like Caroline Ray over time got more and more. She got a little bit chubbier.
Chubby, yeah.
But like her hair never really changed. But like they kept putting her in really like old lady stuff, kind of. Like, it was a lot of sweaters and a lot of like fur.
Yeah, to kind of, yeah.
Here, at least, she seems like a modern woman of the mid-90s.
Right, yeah, and it just screamed 90s just based on the hairstyles alone. But I think with and Zelda, she got probably, I would say, better looking as the series went on.
Yeah.
Because she looked actually even younger, I would say. Like, when I saw this episode, I was like, she looked pretty old.
Yeah. That's a weird thing that you notice about, like, when you go back and watch just shows from the 90s. People tend to look older than their actual age there. And, like, you'll see them now and they look younger now just because fashions look maybe a little more modern now, obviously.
Right.
So they don't look quite as, dowdy and old. If you hear fireworks popping in the background, there are some jackasses popping fireworks outside my house, just to cover the bases. Also, one thing I want to talk about in this scene, Sabrina comes home and she says that, I think Zelda or Hilda asks her how her day was, and she says, "Great, Libby dropped her tray at lunch for the third time in a row. I'm getting really good at that, really proudly." Sabrina is quickly developing from self-defense with magic to just bullying. She's just being a bit of a bitch.
Oh, yeah.
Hi, Sabrina. How was school?
Great. Libby dropped her tray at lunch for the third day in a row. I'm getting really good at that.
Yeah, I noticed that too. She was quick to say how she used her magic, but not in a good way.
Yeah, it's a bit odd. And in the coming episodes, Salem will call her on just basically using magic flippantly, and it's like, yeah, now you're just being like a jackass. Like, Libby's gonna go commit suicide because she thinks she can't stop dropping this tray.
And how is she is she like tripping?
She's just standing in a room with nothing in it, and like the tray just drops.
Right, she's in the middle of class for some reason with the tray in her hand and just falls over.
My God. Next scene though opens. Sabrina's in her room and she's looking really hard in her magic book for spells to make rollerblades. Salem doesn't give a fuck.
Oh yeah, no.
Totally ignoring her, as he really, really should. He tells her, however, to look under sporting goods in the magic book. She first finds the sporting events. Sporting events, yeah. Sporting events.
How she could change the outcome of the event, or it could be a tie, a win, or a loss.
Yes, which was a fun little magic thing where she does like the rah-rah, sis boom ba arm. That'll come up later a lot. But eventually she finds the spell for sporting goods. She finds that she needs an empty shoebox and a gift from a quick-footed animal. She steals hair from Salem. Again, just all the elements of like a serial killer coming together. Hurting animals, being mean to others. Season 7 is going to be a real dark period for Sabrina. To her surprise, though, after she produces the spell, she doesn't end up with roller blades. She ends up with roller blahs, in a joke that I loved like 20 years ago and I still love now.
Okay, here goes. Come on, rollerblades. Yes, it worked. I made roller blahs.
Sabrina, you want some breakfast?
No thanks, I'll be out roller blahing.
What's wrong?
She wanted inline skates, but she wanted a brand name.
Oh, you can't do that. We have strict copyright laws ever since the 70s when witches way overdid the Gucci.
You can still get decent knockoffs from the Hong Kong witches.
Look, I don't care about labels. It's just roller blahs aren't the same. I mean, even the kid on the box isn't having any fun.
Well, then there's only one thing to do.
You'll buy me rollerblades?
No, you'll get a job like the rest of us.
Hilda comes in and soon explains that the other realm has shockingly strong copyright laws ever since witches overdid the Gucci way too much in the 1970s. Hilda says that if she really wants name brand stuff, there's only one thing to do. She gotta go get herself a fucking job.
Oh, yeah.
Which I can tell you from experience is not that easy. I ended up with a whole bunch of roller blahs. At Westbridge, in the next scene, Sabrina is looking for a part-time job because it's the 90s and those are available on the school bulletin board. She skips over a job babysitting triplets and then quickly finds a job making money watching TV. Much to her chagrin, however, a real bitch just steals the job right from underneath her, like literally takes the paper as she's reaching for it. And worse than that, she gives her a lecture about being like more aggressive in this job climate.
Oh, here's one. Earn money watching TV. Hey, that was mine.
You've got to be more aggressive in this job market.
Let me tell you about being unemployed, all right? The worst thing, the only thing really worse than not having a job is people lecturing you about being tougher about looking for work. Fuck off, girl. She then finds a job babysitting one kid, and she calls the baby's mom, who seems like half deranged just from having to spend all her day with this baby. The mom, not being a really good mom, just sight unseen asks Sabrina to start tonight, and Sabrina agrees. Mike, what'd you think of these two scenes here? Going back to Salem and the roller blahs.
Okay, so the scene with the roller blahs, first thing that stuck out to me was Sabrina's awful lime green silk shirt.
Yeah, she wears a lot of those.
I thought she was gonna like break down on and go do some figure skating or something like that, and do the cha-cha or something.
Bit Dharma and Greg with that shirt.
Yeah, a little bit, just a little bit. It was quite an eyesore. So
I look forward to my Dharma and Greg podcast. Not happening.
And then not only that, and Hilda walks in to tell her, that she needs to get a job and stuff like that. She's wearing some terrible looking like jean vest or jean tank top or something like that.
It was shockingly ugly. It was
with a black long sleeve shirt underneath it.
Yes.
And her skirt was like some gypsy looking skirt.
Her skirt was like ankle length. I took copious notes on this thing because this is I think this is probably the ugliest outfit in the whole episode, but there's a fierce debate going to happen. It was like ankle length. It was black, and it had like blue, brown, and like orange like leaves on it.
Yeah, I think it were leaves, yeah.
This whole ensemble is just frightening.
It was all over the place.
Just bad. Also, did you notice at the end of that scene when she tells her to get a job, she then like kind of awkwardly grabs her stomach like playfully?
Yeah.
That's bad. The worst part is that like Melissa Joan Hart as Sabrina doesn't react at all, which is like, if somebody does that, you're supposed to like playfully like, stop. She just like dead faces her.
And it quickly cuts in the next scene.
Yeah.
It was pretty bad.
I'm pretty sure Hilda barred the rollerblades just to keep her quiet about all that.
She abuses her, so.
Also, it's weird that when Sabrina calls the mom to set up the job, this mom is later on shown to be like super protective of Rudy, as we find out his name is.
Mm-hmm.
It's weird that she is super protective and then just sight unseen hires this girl.
Yeah.
Just like out of the blue.
She first of all, she seemed like she wanted nothing to do with the kid because he was driving her crazy, and she just needed to get out with her husband, and she was so wrapped up in getting out of the house that she hired a babysitter on the spot without even meeting her first.
Yep.
And then later on, as we'll talk about it in a little bit, she's quick to say, I can't wait to go back to see my baby Rudy. And it's like,
the fuck is going on?
Yeah, come on, lady.
Also, we get an MTV News reference here.
Yes, I did realize that.
Sabrina is late to biology just after this, and Mr. Poole is starting his lecture on mitosis with the words, mitosis is. That's all we ever really hear about mitosis, really. By the end of the lecture, however, I think it's probably just like, nobody wanted to memorize more about mitosis than mitosis is, so that's how they wrote it.
Yeah.
By the end of the lecture, Mr. Poole says that they covered so much, he's moving the test up to tomorrow. Harvey has a big problem with this, Mike, because son of a bitch, it's Game 4 of the World Series tonight. Mr. Poole gets in a great line about telling him that it's this kind of vindictiveness that helps him get through his day.
Mr. Poole, tonight's Game 4 of the World Series.
No, really? Well, since I'll be stuck here hosting Parents' Night, I guess we'll all be missing the series together. Vindictive? Perhaps. But it's what gets me through the day.
Mr. Poole is like...
dick.
He's a dick, but he's so much about Mr. Poole just in these first 3 episodes. Mm-hmm. You find out even more about him in a little while.
Well, yeah.
Outside of class, Harvey runs up to Sabrina asking her if they can get together tonight to study, wink, because he didn't take such copious notes as I take for each episode of Sabrina's Witch Trials. She tells him that she's babysitting, but that she doesn't think the mom will mind, probably because she's a terrible mother. They both say cool, and Sabrina geekishly celebrates behind him as she walks away. She has a date with, as I wrote here, sideburns, because in episode 2 she freaks out about his sideburns. I'm just gonna call Harvey Sideburns from now on.
He has great sideburns.
He has a man with a lot of great hair all over. Take it from me.
Such a shame. Lost
Shaved it all off. Yeah. At home, Zelda is getting ready for her parent-teacher conference tonight and is wearing a whopper suit. My God. Hilda comes downstairs in a much uglier suit and tells her that she doesn't want to go. First faking being sick and then even magically making it snow. Sabrina comes downstairs, tells them both that she's off to go babysit, and her aunts notice that, wow, pretty well dressed here, at least in their opinion. I thought it was a little childish what she was wearing, but we'll get into that. She reveals that Harvey's going to be there, and her family oohs and ahs, and I love that scene. I love it.
Well, I'm off to my job.
You're all dressed up.
Yeah, well, I wanted to make a good impression on the baby. And Harvey's gonna be there.
Oh.
Don't we have a study date.
Uh-huh.
Don't we have a test.
Mm-hmm.
Don't you start. Look, it's no big deal. I mean, Harvey could have asked anyone to study with him. Of course, he did ask me. Gotta go.
Even Salem gets in on it.
Oh, it's so good. Sabrina then announces that she's leaving for a babysitting job. That word was babysitting. And her aunts go off to meet Mr. Poole. Mike, let's go back to Mitosis is. Mr. Poole gets in a line where he says, "And there you have it in a zygote." Fuck off. Okay? Nobody laughed. He laughs. The students don't laugh. The audience doesn't laugh. I didn't laugh, and we were all right to not laugh.
Yeah, I didn't get it at all. I don't know.
I as I said before, I just love the whole oohs and ahs thing when she says that Harvey's going to be there, because it not only is it funny, it really makes them feel like a family unit. You know, it feels like they all care for one another, and they're not really just actors; they're actually a family.
And a real family gets on each other's case. Oh yeah.
You never want to tell your family anything about who you're dating or whatever, just because they'll immediately fucking laugh at you.
Yeah. Exactly. Laugh at you, make jokes, all that stuff.
Ah.
Ooh and ah.
Fucking talking cat never shuts up. It's the worst. Back to Zelda's fucking pantsuit. Yeah. Mother of God.
So obviously, that was the first thing I noticed.
Yeah, God damn
it. It was a terrible, like, sky blue, maybe. I don't even know what the correct color of blue was, but Hillary Clinton.
Yeah,
like right off the bat. If she was wearing a blazer with a skirt.
Mm-hmm.
If they were pants,
Hillary Clinton.
Totally Hillary Clinton.
Like 90s Hillary Clinton too.
Oh, yeah. Exactly, yeah. So it was just a terrible outfit choice.
I liked it a lot though. I thought that the color was a little questionable because it kind of blended in with the background.
Yeah, it did. The walls, yeah.
Yeah. But it was cut so well for her, and it showed off her fucking awesome legs.
You just love her.
I kind of do.
Yeah, it's kind of weird though.
It's not. I mean,
because
you're weird.
Yeah, well, she's not that hot, so.
Okay. You can choose Hilda or Zelda. Yeah, Hilda is not who you're gonna choose.
I'd rather choose neither.
No offense to Caroline Salem.
I'd probably choose Salem.
Choose Salem. There's also a weird bit here where Salem asks why he can't go to parent-teacher conference. I thought it was a weird joke, but it was a fun line from Zelda afterwards where it's like, yeah, we're two old biddies who live in a house by ourselves already. If we bring a cat, people are just gonna fucking send us to the loony bin.
Yeah.
I still don't understand why I can't go to parents' night with you.
Because, Salem, it's weird enough that we're two sisters who live together in an old Victorian house. If we show up with a cat, we cross the line into Looneyville.
Which is also accurate. Like, a lot of questions will be raised about why these two old aunts living in a house by themselves with a talking cat.
Yeah.
A lot of questions. We get to the baby's house, Rudy's house, as we find out, and Sabrina's basically getting the lay of the land from the mother. The mother tells her to call him Rudy Kazootie because he loves it, or more formally, Mr. Kazootie. She basically plays the overly attached mom, as Mike said, where she's walking around with the baby, not giving Sabrina the baby, and then she actually leaves holding the baby before remembering that, oh, I've got to give this baby to this girl who's going to watch this baby so me and my husband can go out and I can be really weird. The dad is also really not impressed. Like,
that guy is a weirdo. That guy is totally weird. I got a weird vibe off of him. Like it just, I don't know.
He's doing the whole ignored husband thing where like she walks past him and he's holding the coat. I think a large part of why he's weird is like nothing that he does ever gets like an ADR laugh, which is weird because in the scene we're going to talk about in a little while, he makes a joke and then his wife makes a joke, or his wife makes a joke and then he makes a joke, and none of it gets like a fake laugh, which it really deserved.
Yeah.
It's just it's the editing on these episodes are sometimes super weird.
Very awkward, yeah.
So they leave, and then Harvey shows up soon after, and we get some lovely teen awkwardness between Harvey and Sabrina. Just as they sit down studying, get to Mitosis is, Harvey gets a little close to Sabrina because she wants to show him her book, and he wants to read that book. You get what I'm saying.
Oh yeah.
Gets a little close, but then she runs off to get some snacks. And what we get here is one of my favorite jokes from the entire first season.
You know, studying makes me hungry.
Yeah, me too. I'll go see what I can dig up. I found all kinds of great stuff. It's not brand name, but I'm sure it tastes fine.
Schmickers? N&N's. Butter thumb? Where do these people shop?
I don't know, but if you're thirsty, there's Popsi.
Do they have Yoo-hoo?
No, but they have Hey Over Here.
I think I'll just have a Diet Popsi.
I love all of it. I don't think Schnickers is that funny. I think Butter Thumbs is fucking hilarious. Popsi was okay. But the Yoo-hoo replacement of Hey Over Here.
Yeah.
I laughed when I watched it like 4 times in a row getting ready for the show. I laughed when I read it off my notes just now. Fucking great.
That was funny because you're thinking, you know, they're keeping close to the word, the actual word. So like Schmickers, obviously Snickers, Butter Thumbs, Butterfinger. Hey, what was it? Hey, you over there.
Hey, over here.
Hey, over here. So I'm thinking they're going to go like Yahoo, but then I didn't know if, like it was Yahoo around at the time. I don't even know.
I don't think it was. Because Google only came out, but Yahoo might have been first. Google was 98.
Or like Yahoo, something like that.
Yeah.
But they completely changed it as like, you know, hey over here. That was pretty funny.
They also had N and N's.
N and N's. Yeah, N and N's.
So good. So good.
So she goes to say, you know, let me see if I could whip up something or get some food or something. Her aunt literally just put a whole bunch of ice cream in a freezer.
Yep.
They're witches. And she comes back with couple candy bars and soda.
Fancy.
I mean, I'd whip up some, you know, spaghetti and meatballs.
I bring out like 9 different pies. All kinds of pies. Like 3 different services of coffee.
Yeah. I mean, I don't understand how. Well,
come on. He's
kids,
got really good hair.
But they're kids, I guess, you know, whatever.
So, you know, they're getting close again. They get back to Mitosis and the baby starts crying. Sabrina goes upstairs to check on Rudy, and she gets into some really lazy babysitting. Like, this episode reveals how terrible a babysitter Sabrina is. She basically gives Mr. Kazootie Goodnight Moon, reads it really quickly, and then just leaves him by himself, just sitting there. Like, she doesn't calm him down, she doesn't put him back to sleep. She just walks out. She walks out downstairs, because Harvey's still downstairs, and they get chatting about Harvey's interests, which include not only baseball, but also the fine interest of dentistry. He takes this opportunity to compliment her teeth, which is, that's a line I used back in high school. You know, damn girl, got some really sweet teeth. Nice chompers. Got a lot of dates with that one.
Yeah.
Sarcasm.
See that.
That's why I'm sitting here on a Friday night recording a podcast.
Hey.
That moment, as soon as they're getting close again with the teeth compliment, they're interrupted by Mr. Kazootie. Sabrina goes back upstairs. She tries to calm him down by rubbing his back and telling him to be a big boy. Says that 3 times in a row, oddly enough. Then puts him back to sleep. We also then see some like magical sparkles all around Rudy. Telling
awesome
us
CGI.
Awesome, like the best ABC could afford in 1996. She goes downstairs, more, you know, getting close. We hear a bump upstairs, I believe. She goes to check on Rudy, and she discovers, to her horror, a fully grown man sitting in Rudy's crib saying "Baba." Obviously, something went a little wrong. Mike, where do you start with this?
Okay.
Let's just start with naming a kid Rudy.
Yeah, that's a pretty bad name.
You're setting this
no
kid
offense
up,
to all your Rudies out there.
Yeah, but you're setting yourself up for like 12 years of just facial poundings over and over again.
Maybe
and not the
more.
good way.
Maybe a little more because you got to go through high school.
That's true. 18 good years of fucking punching. Just awful. I do love the whole off-brand joke thing. Like
that was good. Yeah. So I hate to rag on the outfits here. You know, I really do because I know I had some terrible outfit choices.
Your
maybe not my
McDonald's
choices.
Shirt?
Hey.
I love honestly, like if you ask me what Mike wore in the 90s, in my memory, he only wore that McDonald's shirt for like 10 years.
And in his defense, I literally only wore that shirt. Like every day.
It's a great shirt.
Never washed it, so.
Basically, it was a shirt that had like the yellow and white pinstripes
It was
of
a
the inside.
Tommy Hilfiger shirt.
Was it?
Yeah.
Wow. It was like yellow and white pinstripes, and it looked exactly like the inside of the McDonald's fry box.
It absolutely did. It was a button down, and bad choices were made.
I had those yellow like really short shorts I wore all the time in summer.
I don't remember that.
I do. What would look great with your McDonald's shirt?
Yeah, exactly. So back to the wardrobe on the show. Harvey is wearing some sort of shirt.
It's like a green geometric pattern. It's like a really hunter green. I have it down too. It looked kind of like one of my aunt's rugs, to be perfectly honest.
It looked like scales, like fish scales.
Yeah.
Because it was like silk, and it just looked terrible. Or maybe like peacock feathers. It was just not good.
Lucky he's got those sideburns.
Yeah, exactly. That hair is just
to die for.
Oh yeah. But it kind of looked like he was wearing like these corduroy pants too, and it was just terrible all around.
Yeah.
And then his jacket was like that big like fleece.
Yep.
Yeah. So
like three sizes too big. Also.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Also, at one point when Sabrina goes to run to check on Rudy, she runs away and like starts like flailing her arms, running away. It's like she thinks she's being attacked by bees or something. It just looks super weird.
It was a little dramatic.
And really, the main point out of these two scenes is Sabrina's a shit babysitter. Like, don't hire her. There's a reason. Like, the other girl who got that job watching TV, making money, is doing a way better job than Sabrina. Because fuck me, she's not a good babysitter.
No, she was bad. She said, "Hello, Moon. Good night, Moon."
Yep.
Threw the book at the baby. Literally.
Just left him sitting there with the fucking book.
I'm gonna go get me some with Harvey downstairs.
That's right. Some N and N's, if you know what I mean. All right. So we cut back to Rudy's room, and Sabrina realizes that she's done something wrong. She tries to change him back. No avail. She uses the sports altering magic she learned, where she does like the sis boom ba and then points, to alter the World Series, which Harvey's been watching on TV, so she can distract Harvey to give her more time to deal with Rudy. She starts dressing Rudy. Just about as Rudy is dressed, Rudy's dad calls to check on him. Sabrina tells them that, everything's fine. Take all the time you need because they were rushing him or whatever. After that, they hang up and we get a really, really weird scene between Rudy's mom and Rudy's dad. Rudy's parents basically discuss the weird day that they were having. There's a funny joke here where the mom references like them being trapped in like a freak snowstorm, which is the snowstorm that Hilda created to get out of going to school. And then she says she has a weird feeling, and then the dad just really blandly says, "Quit it with the weird feelings" or something. But the odd part, as I said earlier, is there's no fucking laughter. So you ignore this like really straight-laced joke, which if there isn't laughter, no one's going to laugh at, and you just skip right over it. It's so dumb in terms of editing.
Yeah, they didn't. You're right. Like they didn't get any laughter. Maybe the wife did, like maybe a couple or something, but the dad, it made him look even creepier because he wasn't getting that laugh track. I mean, one would have just
saved the whole thing.
Exactly, but he just came off as really creepy, like kind of like a douche, because like everything he said was with just a straight stone face, and he kind of had like just a weird look in his eyes to begin with, and it just brought a really like weird vibe.
Yeah, his green trench coat didn't help much either.
Yeah. Oh, again with the wardrobe. I mean,
Mike,
lay off the wardrobe.
That's
right?
like 60% of what the show really is going, look at how terribly dressed this person is.
It was pretty bad.
Gotta get the phone. Did she answer yet?
Am I talking? Oh, hi, Sabrina. Yeah, it's Jerry, Rudy's dad.
Is he okay? Ask her if he's okay.
I know what to ask. Is he okay?
Yeah, Rudy's having a real good time. He's riding his banana right now. How's your dinner?
Well, they were a little late in seating us.
Really?
But since we got a table, they've been rushing the heck out of us.
Oh, don't let them. You're there to relax. Take all the time you want.
Well, that's very sweet of you, Sabrina. Well, we were just checking in, so we'll see you soon. Okay, not too soon. Right. Bye. See? Everything's fine.
I'm sorry. It's just been such a weird day. I mean, you almost went off the road in that freak snowstorm, and now I just have the funniest feeling.
Stop with the feelings.
At the parent-teacher conference, Zelda and Hilda are both listening to Mr. Poole talk about his lessons or whatever, and Zelda basically tells Hilda that she thinks Mr. Poole is a hunk of spunk, to use a phrase that I'm going to patent now. Hilda says that she needs to go to the nurse because she's feeling even sicker now, but she sees that Zelda's finding Mr. Poole all attractive. As Mr. Poole comes over to them, he and Zelda start chatting, and she coyly notes that they're single sisters and not lesbians. You want to make that clear. I've pulled that move a few times myself.
I believe the term used was alternate couple.
Yeah. That's the politically correct term of the mid-1990s.
Oh, when she said that, I lost it.
Excuse me, is there something you'd like to share with the rest of the class?
I need to go to the nurse.
Is there a problem, Mrs. Spellman?
Yes, my tummy.
No, she's fine. And it's Miss Spellman.
Who are you?
Oh, I'm also Miss Spellman. We're Sabrina's aunts. Sisters, not an alternative couple.
Mr. Poole says that he's also very single, and Hilda gets even sicker, as she's really she deserves to do by this point. Back at Sabrina's house, Sabrina has brought Rudy to the house to try and get some help from Salem. She leaves Rudy chewing on a book in the kitchen and goes to talk to Salem, who's playing with his yarn. We get a really creepy line from Salem here, where she walks in on him playing with yarn, and he's just like, I have urges?
Yeah.
I don't want to know about Salem's fucking urges, and I especially don't want to hear him tell a teenage girl about his urges.
Oh, come on, man. He gets off on that yarn.
Oh, God. I mean, I know, but listen, we all do, but we keep it secret.
Come on, I've seen your cat around here with that yarn.
You've seen my big box of yarn, which I just keep in my room.
I mean, it's kind of like, you watch a Disney movie and you're an adult and you're watching it with a kid. They need some jokes in there for the adults. And I think, when we were younger, 6, 5, you're like, oh, haha, the cat's playing with yarn. And then the adults are probably thinking like how we're thinking, like, oh, that's a little weird. Like, my kid's watching this show.
It made me feel like unclean.
Yeah.
And not in the unclean way.
Well, you're kind of our dirty.
I mean, you do kind of smell. She asks Salem to help her with Rudy, of course. And he tells her that she should really go talk to her aunts. She's forced to take Rudy with her to talk to the aunts when she puts Salem in charge, and Rudy just basically tries to ride Salem right from the beginning. Because Rudy, too, has urges, evidently. Mike, these two scenes, where do you fall on them?
Yeah, I just, going back to Sabrina being a shitty babysitter.
Yeah.
First of all, she doesn't drive, right? So
she does not.
How far away do the Kazooties live from her house?
Good question.
And then how far is she from the school? So it's like, how long is she taking this kid for a ride? Apparently it's freezing out because they keep grabbing jackets. So not a good babysitter.
Absolutely not. At one point she says that she tells Harvey she's going to take the baby for a walk.
A walk, yeah. And Harvey doesn't do anything.
He doesn't bat an eye.
He's like, yeah, sure, World Series.
Also, it's like 8 at night. Where are you walking a baby?
Yeah.
It's fucking muggers outside. It's Boston. Or outside of Boston.
Yeah.
I want to also make this clear. Zelda can do way better than Mr. Poole. Again, I
get
know
it. You love
I know I'm
her.
harping on this, but fuck, she's way hotter than Mr. Poole.
Because she... Okay, well, I was going to say something that's coming up, though. But.
That's right. We'll find out about Chad in a second.
I just thought those two scenes were kind of a little weird. And, for it to only be like a 20-minute show, I thought that kind of wasted a little bit of time. Just cutscene. Don't even say, oh, I'm going out for a walk. Just go. We
also get a nice illustration of Nick McKay as Salem here, where we get a really funny joke when Sabrina brings Salem in to see Rudy, and he's just like, oh, God, you picked up a guy from the bus station. Really good. I love Nick McKay. I love his voice, and really nailing it here as a sarcastic Salem you want.
Although, how old is Sabrina?
Sabrina's here 16.
Yeah, so he's a pretty sicko.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's telling her about his urges. So
yeah, exactly.
Jesus. We get to Westbridge, and Zelda and Mr. Poole are basically just in full flirt mode now. They're talking about some science shit. Nobody cares.
Yeah. Fleming, something like
that. Not Ian Fleming, but whatever. It'll work. They exchange hilarious emails. I have it written down here. BioStud and the much better Chem Kitten. Those are both exceptional usernames, folks. Use it for anything. Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn. birth certificates, whatever. It's just, they're both good.
Oh yeah.
Chem Kitten especially. Like I'm not gonna say I checked Twitter after this to see if it was available to change the Sabrina handle to, but
you checked.
I definitely did.
And it's taken.
It's it's actually Beth Broderick still using Chem Kitten. Sabrina shows up and enters with Rudy, who Mr. Poole mistakes as her father. Rudy basically gives Mr. Poole a raspberry. You know, the old. I'm gonna do that really quietly so it doesn't blow out my microphone. Gives her the raspberry when Mr. Poole does a really pretty bad Scottish impression.
Oh yeah. It was terrible.
Hey, Sabrina.
Sabrina, what are you doing at parents' night?
Nothing. I just.
Oh, I see you brought your father.
Moon.
Don't play with that, Dad.
It's nice to meet you, Mr. Spellman. Mr. Spellman.
Actually, you know, he likes to be called Mr. Kazootie.
Mr. Kazootie?
Yeah, that's her real name. It's Scottish. You can...
I'm Scottish, too. And I know note to the clown Kazootie, be a Highlander.
Oh, we're lowlanders.
I just put it in. It's not good at all, but he just leaves to go to the bake sale that he's got to go run. Also gets in another little flirty line, talking about how it's a...
Prestige.
It's a prestige thing. That's exactly right. And it's bad that it's a 40 line. It's even worse that it works on Zelda.
Oh, yeah.
Because as I pointed out, way hotter. Okay, fine. Mr. Poole is pretty hot.
I wouldn't say that.
Did you? I brought this up on earlier episodes, but I don't know if you know this. Do you know Paul Feig, who plays Mr. Poole, basically writes and or directs a lot of Melissa McCarthy movies? Like, he's involved in Ghostbusters. He did... I think he did Spy also.
Really?
He's worked on... I think he worked on Bridesmaids also.
So he's responsible for all that?
Yeah. You're welcome.
I'm going to have to find him.
Paul Feig. No, fucking just email
Strangle
BioStud
him.
and he's already there.
Oh, Melissa McCarthy is the worst.
Send all your hate mail to biostud@quicknet. Anyway.
Yeah, I didn't know anything about that.
Once he leaves, Sabrina gets down to explaining what has happened and that this is Rudy. Rudy calls Hilda a funny clown, which is fully deserved. She also explains that what she did before he transformed, and Hilda discovers that, well, idiot. Hilda doesn't actually call Sabrina an idiot as much as I make it sound like she does, but her tone illustrates idiocy. She explains that you basically inadvertently cast a passion spell when you said, be a big boy 3 times. Because, you know, if you say anything 3 times, passion spell. Zelda feels the need to illustrate this and summons legendary teen dreamboat Randy Travis.
Oh, yeah, that stud.
Let's get into this right now. What the fuck is Randy Travis doing on a teen sitcom in 1996?
On its 3rd episode ever.
Yes. Like, this is a big get for them.
Right. He was pretty big at the time.
But who the fuck would go for Randy Travis? Like, what crossover appeal does he have with, like, teenagers?
Teenagers? Well, yeah, teenagers, but...
Anyone!
Let's say I'm 6 years old watching this. I didn't know who the hell he was.
My God. As you would expect, Randy Travis is a little bit confused. He eventually walks away. We find out later he's gone to a bake sale.
We also find out that this has happened before.
Zelda showing how much she loves Randy Travis. She calls the passion spell a Travis. And clearly they do this quite an awful lot. Because when you're 2 Spencer sisters living in a Victorian house, you summon country music superstars, evidently. Zelda basically explains that to reverse the spell, all you have to do is do what you did to incant it, but in reverse. Sabrina then says, and I wrote this down because it's very complicated, boy big a B 3 times, rubs his back, nothing happens.
Very good, Al.
Right?
That was nice.
This is the way you take notes.
Good job.
Harvey, take a lesson here.
Take crappy notes.
Nothing happens, though, and somehow they, like, the aunts and Sabrina start arguing, and then Rudy gets away, which is a little unbelievable because he's like a fully grown, slightly portly man. He's not really like a sly one.
I pretty much compared him to Andy Richter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very accurate.
Yeah.
He's that size. He gets away. We find out that he's gone to the bake sale, which Mr. Poole was at, and which we see Randy Travis is getting a very particular slice of cake that has nuts in it.
Which I assume he's allergic to nuts.
Yes. Mr. Poole with a great line telling him he can pick them out.
Yeah.
Fucking duh.
He can pick them out and still have it contaminated.
Yep. But he does give it to him for free, so you know,
right.
A little poisoning is not that bad for a free piece of cake. Rudy starts shoveling food into his mouth, And Mr. Poole gets in a really strong Mr. Kazootie.
Mr. Kazootie!
There you go. Put that in right there. And Sabrina comes in and is like, well, now you see why I changed my name. Which in reality, the scene cuts there, but if we were to see like the next 3 minutes of that event, it would really just be Mr. Poole going, what the fuck are you talking about? Why is your dad eating all these baked goods? Give me money.
Yeah.
It's not just like, now you see why I changed my name. All right, well, I guess take your dad. And
Yeah.
go home.
Oh, you know what? You're right, Sabrina. You don't know me anything.
Have a piece of cake. You can pick the nuts out. Mike, what did you think of these scenes at Westbridge?
I thought that Mr. Poole looked like much younger Randy Travis. They had like the same haircut, the same stupid look on their face.
Both love bake sales.
When Rudy was like crawling away, which he literally crawled away from Sabrina and her aunts, I thought I didn't remember the episode that well. I thought that that's where he was going to transform back into a baby, and Aaron's going to say, you know, where's your father and why is there a baby now?
Mm-hmm.
I completely forgot that that's not what happened. So when I saw him at the bake sale, I was like, oh, I remember,
Right.
you know.
A much stupider thing actually happens, but we'll get to that in a minute.
Right, exactly. But yeah, it was just like I said in the beginning, it was just weird. It was just a weird, you know, episode. So like everything kind of just obviously didn't make sense, but
right. At one point, I dropped a pen there. If you heard it, if you didn't, I didn't drop a pen. You know, at one point, Mr. Poole starts talking about how he and Zelda met in a chat room, and she points out that he's a very naughty boy.
Yeah.
You know, we should exchange email. What's your address?
Me? I'm on QuickNet. My screen name is BioStud.
Your bio stud? I'm Chem Kitten.
Oh, didn't we meet in a chat room and discuss polyvinyl chloride?
Yes. And you are very naughty.
I want to read what Mr. Poole wrote in that chat room. Like, part of me really hopes that it's like super graphic and like he used the word plunging a lot.
Oh, I guarantee you that's not what happened at all. It was probably like, oh, I want
Particle
to
physics.
Yeah, exactly. No, he was probably like, I want to be the atom to your
I want to be
something.
the
Nucleus
two
to
hydrogens to your oxygen.
Yeah, exactly. It was definitely that type.
That's
of...
right. I spent time in those chat rooms.
Yeah, that's right. I took notes in biology and chemistry.
More fireworks as we talk about more great oohs and ahs in the scene. Also,
But I can guarantee you there was no like sexual.
No, it was probably quite tame. It's
Yeah,
like
exactly.
Beakers are great, aren't they?
Yeah. So
To be fair, Beakers are great is one of my opening lines. Also, man, works on Tinder every time. Yeah. Also, as you might not know, Randy Travis later appeared on 3 consecutive issues of Tiger Beat. No, of course he didn't. He's a middle-aged country music star, not, say, Eddie Cibrian. But why would I name that guy? Back at Randy's house.
and who is Eddie Cibrian?
Yes, a later question that deserves to be pondered. Who the fuck is Eddie Cibrian? We go back to Rudy's house. Sabrina sneaks him by Harvey again. I think she'd maybe use a little bit more of the Sis Boom Boss spell. He's still glued to the game. Apparently it's become a great game because all these changes have really made a really tight matchup.
Extra innings.
Extra innings, absolutely. She tucks, I call him Mega Rudy, into bed and tells him that, to be sure, just to make sure here, what are you going to tell your parents? He's like, I don't know how I got this way. It's like, terrific. More terrible babysitting. Adventures in terrible babysitting. She goes downstairs. She uses a little bit more sports magic to create... I took this note down because I don't know anything about baseball, but I'm glad we have somebody who knows something about baseball here. An unassisted triple play to end the game and get Harvey's attention back. Now, Mike, break down what an unassisted triple play is.
Right. So an unassisted triple play is, let's say there are runners on... Well, the bases could be full, right?
Okay.
So the bases could be loaded. One individual player gets all 3 outs. And how that happens is there has to be either runners on first and second or bases loaded, and the ball is hit on a line drive to the player or, you know, whatever. He then proceeds to step on second, or he can tag the runner that was leading off of second, tag the runner, and then step on second, right? So basically, nobody else can be involved in this play, and that's what unassisted is. So whether he catches it, tags a runner, and then steps on a bag, unassisted triple play.
So it's definitely rare. is the one.
Yeah, it's only happened, I would say, off the top of my head, maybe like 15 times.
Okay. So it happens, and the game is over. She gets Harvey's attention back. They, of course, again go back to the two words, mitosis is. Sabrina then says that she needs a real break after all this babysitting business. And they start awkwardly flirting again as the Kazooties come home. Sabrina basically just gets her money and runs. She's like, yeah, you can pay me whatever. I gotta go. We gotta go talk about mitosis or whatever. Yeah. And then the mother calls the father just then to come see this, quote. The this she's talking about is basically just their little sleeping angel, who they don't notice here is still a fully formed adult. He has not shrunk back into regular Rudy. He is definitely the same size as Andy Richter. And they don't notice at all. They're just like, oh, look at my little baby. He's great. Let's go hang up our ugly coats. After they leave, in fact, that is when Rudy gets a little bit more sparkly magic and turns back into a baby. Clearly, the spell takes a while, as Hilda or Zelda reminded us. What the fuck, Mike? So many things to break down here. One, she is shown to be, at least recently, a super protective mother. Even the deadbeatest of deadbeat parents would actually visibly check on their child and not just like from afar go, there's a mass sleeping in that crib. I guess he's fine.
Yeah, and it's about 10 times the size of our baby boy.
Honestly, maybe he was stung by all the bees that Sabrina was scared of downstairs.
Yeah, well, I'm not going to lie. The baby was pretty big to begin with, so I think it was already a toddler at that point.
Yeah,
obviously, they used him as an infant.
He was toddling.
Yeah. But yeah, when I noticed, because it was, I guess it was a little hard to see, I noticed it was still the Andy Richter type man.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, bitch,
that baby definitely can control the universe.
Bitch, you dumb.
Honestly.
You gotta go check on your damn kid.
At least look at him. Like, just, you don't have to like take his clothes off and like make sure there's no scrapes on him or anything, but just like look at the face of your baby to see if like he's bleeding.
And first of all, you can even tell by the back of his head, or the blanket over him is like barely covering him now because he's 10 times the size, and he's a big fat fatty.
Yeah. Again, just to cover this point, because it really bears repeating, Sabrina is again a fucking hideous babysitter. Even after she transforms this baby into this giant man, she still won't read him Goodnight Moon. Yeah. She still just gives him the book and makes him sit there. It's like, fuck. The least you could do is read like 20 pages and probably like a total of 100 words. Asshole.
Yeah.
Also, I think generally the whole mitosis is joke. It's not really that funny, but it is a nice like thread that is, you know, runs throughout the whole show. It kind of like ties it together.
Mm-hmm.
I don't mind that. But it's not funny, but I like it being there anyway.
Yeah. The thing that got me about that was when she was scared that the parents were going to find out because the mom screamed down, no, you know, whatever his name was, oh, you got to come up and see this. She's thinking that they found out that he's, you know, the big guy or whatever that he turned into.
She thinks he's Andy Richter, yeah.
The father goes, oh, what do we owe you? $4 an hour? That just blew my mind.
Yeah.
$4 an hour? What was she there for, like an hour or two? She made $8 the whole night.
That's right.
Oh my
but
god.
But to be fair, she got all the fucking butter thumbs and hey over here's that she wanted.
Which she could have had at home.
That is true. And she could have gone roller blying.
Yeah.
Bit of a waste of time.
So
and also, good point though, but you're not gonna buy actual rollerblades for $8. Like,
yeah,
you're gonna have to babysit for like 3 months.
3 months, probably 3 years. I mean, honestly, that was the whole, you know, purpose of her getting the job. That's why I was thinking, I was like, well, not only can she not afford rollerblades, she can probably at the time not afford a bus fare or 2 or 3 or whatever she has to do. It's just little things like that.
And I also want to make this point here. I really loved the whole like non-name brand joke just because growing up I wasn't a member of the richest family in the world and I had a lot of off-brand stuff. I certainly drank my fair share of Sips juice boxes.
Hey, Sips are pretty good.
They were not a name. It wasn't like juicy juice. It was probably like 20% juice.
They're
like,
still good. And
the rest of it was like ashes from like an old fireplace.
No, they were still pretty good because I drank Sips and
yeah, cover the bases. And again, like, so what if they're called rollerblades? They probably still work well.
They look like rollerblades to me.
They fucking roll. You're fine.
Yeah, so.
Jeez.
She's just, you know.
Same fucking kids who complain about Payless shoes.
She needs to get brought down a little bit.
She should wear some fucking Payless shoes. That'll teach her a lesson.
Yeah.
quality shoes. Fucking Shaqs. He used to sell Shaquille O'Neal shoes.
Starberries.
That's right. Quality footwear. Nothing less. We go back to Sabrina's house, and what do we find? We find her aunt's doing a puzzle again, this time with noted teen heartthrob Randy Travis. They're basically holding him captive here, and Sabrina goes up to her room where she can't concentrate on Mitosis is. So what does she do? She sends Salem out of the room, and she passion spells country music superstar Eddie Cibrian. Now,
he's not a country music.
He's not anything.
He's just an actor.
He's just an actor. Who is Eddie Cibrian, Mike?
Apparently he was on Baywatch.
I'm actually Googling Eddie Cibrian right now.
Because he made the joke about how he was just about to save Hasselhoff.
He did do that. He has been on... Apparently he was on CSI Miami for a while. He was on Third Watch.
That was a good show.
He's married to Leanne Rimes, and he actually has a reality show with her called Leanne and Eddie. He was also on The Young and the Restless, where I imagine is where he got his start, as so many mid-level actors do.
So he wasn't on Baywatch?
I think he was on Baywatch.
Oh.
I think he was on Baywatch. It's not here, but I'm sure it's there. Or maybe he was just going to pull David Hasselhoff out of a burning car anyway.
Maybe he was a Knight Rider.
Remember Team Knight Rider?
No.
You don't remember Team
Knight
Rider?
Yeah, that was like a few years ago, right?
No, we redid Knight Rider a few years ago with like a Ford Mustang. In the 90s, they had something called Team Knight Rider, which was like a team of automobiles, and it was produced a lot like a Murder, She Wrote, like that quality of filming and writing, but it was awesome because it was like a bunch of snarky like cars, and like there was a pickup truck, and there was an SUV, and like I think there was a motorcycle or something. I, as a 5-year-old, fucking loved it.
I don't remember that at all.
And also it aired in Portugal in like the year 2006.
What does it say, like 2 months ago?
New episodes still airing of Team Knight Rider. Look that up on YouTube, folks. I'm sure it's still there.
You should also watch that new show, Miami Vice.
That's right. The original.
Yeah.
So Eddie Cibrian is in her room, and she basically makes Eddie Cibrian spin around so she can ogle his ass. She invites him to do a puzzle with her aunts and Randy Travis, which he accepts. And basically, I say basically a lot, but it's a very basic show. Eddie Cibrian's ass reminds her that magic isn't all bad. The one note I have from the scene is I really like the way Randy Travis talks and the way he says what piece he's looking for. I'm going to put some of that in here right now.
Hey, looking for a sky blue rhombus with a little puff of clouds. Oh, there it is.
I'm looking for a sky blue rhombus with a little puff of cloud. I love that line so much. And it's a stupid line, but it's just in his syntax and the way he says it. So good.
He has a funny accent.
He does. Not funny like haha, but funny like, why the fuck are you on an episode of Sabrina the Teenage Witch?
Yeah.
What'd you think of the scene, Mike? Anything to note?
So I actually want to tie this puzzle scene with the opening scene with the ants.
Yeah. By the way, if you're hearing more fireworks, again, more jackasses outside my house firing off fireworks.
Yeah.
It is after the 4th of July, folks. By the way.
It is, but
you were saying tying it back.
But America.
Yeah. Every day of the year is a good day to remember America.
Exactly. So we're tying it back to the opening scene where Sabrina walks in and she's like, "Hey, you guys are still sitting at the table. I went to school. You guys are sitting at the table, and I'm coming home from school, and you guys are still at the table."
Yep.
Then Anhilda proceeds to fill up the freezer magically with ice cream.
Mm-hmm.
Then they go back home and are working on the same puzzle with Randy Travis. And I'm thinking to myself, they can literally use their magic to just do the puzzle.
Yeah,
in
or
less
have
than a
sex
second.
with Randy Travis. Like,
well, yeah.
I get that they're enjoying the puzzle and everything, but like, you find Randy Travis really attractive. You can clearly summon him. We find out later that like love spells exist to some point. You can do whatever you want, basically. He's here.
That sounds like rape, Al.
Well, it is, but clearly there are very few laws that govern the actions of witches.
And it's a kid's show, or a teen show, I should say.
Like, next episode, we actually find out that there are a lot of laws that govern the actions of witches, but clearly, kidnapping humans is not one of them.
Well, yeah. So yeah, that was something that was just really weird to me. That was from the opening scene, but then obviously it happened again. So, and I believe
Eddie Cibrian.
Yeah, that was just weird.
Also, his ass is not that good in those like relaxed fit 90s jeans.
I really wasn't.
I listen, I'm not going to say I paused 9 times to look at his ass. It was 8, though. So there you go. The show basically closes with Harvey and Sabrina and the whole class taking their Mitosis is test. Harvey, of course, repeating the phrase Mitosis is because that's all he ever learned in this episode about mitosis. And he and Mr. Poole basically talk about the weird nights that they had the night before. The shockingly rare baseball game, and also Mr. Poole's odd run-in with Sabrina's father. Mike, as an episode, what did you think about the true adventures of Rudy Kazootie?
Well, it definitely brought me back to, when I was a kid and watching it for the first time and probably laughing at every single thing just because I didn't know any better.
Mm-hmm.
Now looking back on it 20 years later, wasn't that funny.
Yeah.
Definitely picked it apart a lot.
Yeah. That's what we're here to do.
But it's always great to go back, especially 20 years. Wow, that's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
20 years later, and just to rewatch it and think, okay, now I'm an adult. At least I'd like to think I'm an adult. And yeah,
at least you have a job.
Hey,
not like some asshole. You were saying?
Yeah. So it's just obviously to me wasn't that funny.
Okay, good.
But I know there are other episodes that I remember to this day, watching it when I was that young, that would probably live up, now. But I'm glad I was on the show because I got to rewatch one of my favorite shows when I was a kid.
Don't worry, you'll definitely be back. If for no other reason,
I wouldn't
I
be
don't
so
have,
sure about that.
I don't have all that many friends, so I'm definitely gonna call you in like 3 weeks. I'm like, I've gone around the bend and I need you back again.
You might use your cat a couple times.
I will.
So what do you think about Salem?
Fucking sensy ass bitch herself. I actually like this episode way more than I thought I was going to, just remembering it. Like, I remember it as not that funny an episode, in large part because all I remember is Sabrina makes a baby into a big boy and has to change him back. I actually like the way that story is carried out, even though it's not really that funny a story. I also like how all of these different aspects of the episode really come together in the end into one cohesive story, like the parent-teacher night, being involved in the Rudy Kazootie thing, the whole Mitosis thing going through, even the off-brand stuff from in the beginning with the roller blahs coming back with the N&Ns and the Schnickers and the Popsi and everything. I think it was a well-written episode, even if it wasn't the funniest. Now, Mike, you might not know this, but I have a very special TGIF scale that I use to rate each episode of Sabrina Teenage Witch here on Sabrina's Witch Trials. Pluggity plug plug. It's basically a 1 to 5 scale, and each number correlates with a different TGIF show. So, if you had to rate this on a scale of 1 to 5, would you rate this a You Wish, which is a number 1? You Wish gets a lot of fireworks. Would you rate this a Teen Angel, which is a number 2? Would you rate this a Hangin' with Mr. Cooper at number 3, a Family Matters at number 4, or a Boy Meets World high at number 5?
So for me, this particular episode would be a Teen Angel at number 2.
Okay.
Or at 2, I should say.
Fair enough.
Because I would have given it a 3 if it's just I don't know. Like I said, it was just not my cup of tea.
I got it. The jokes didn't work for you.
Right.
Yeah.
But I did enjoy how I can tell what type of jokes they were trying to make for the adult audience.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's always nice to go back and watch stuff as you watch as a kid and spot jokes you never spotted before. Like that is a large part of why I watch The Simpsons now, is because I love The Simpsons and I always have, but when I go back and watch it, each time I hear something new or I notice something new or something different that I didn't spot before, because the first time I watched it, I was like 6 years old.
Yeah.
I have this at a Family Matters, a 4 out of 5. Like I said, I liked it in a lot of ways. I remembered it way worse than I actually enjoyed it currently. I would go back and watch this episode anytime because I think the only real sour note is the actual like Rudy Kazootie scenes themselves, like when he's actually a big boy and she's dealing with that.
Yeah.
Those are probably the worst scenes of the entire episode.
This is like cringeworthy.
Yeah, but I think you get good performances from Zelda, Beth Broderick, Paul Feig as Mr. Poole. Even Sabrina gets her moments in there. Salem has some funny lines. I think it comes together pretty well. Now, there's one other award that we have to give out, Mike. I call it the Back of the Linen Closet Award. It's a special honor I give to an episode's worst fashion flop. More fireworks for that. Mike almost spit out whatever he was drinking.
Yeah, it's good. It's good effects.
In all honesty, it's as if I'm timing it to when they're shooting off fireworks. Like, I yelled at them before we started the podcast. Now it's like they're just trying to get me by, like, get me happy with them by, like, firing off fireworks whenever I say anything.
Yeah, old man Al's doing his podcast. Let's shoot off the fireworks now.
Fucking assholes. All right. So, of all the fashions that you saw this episode, Mike, and we did point out a lot of them, Harvey's shirt, Zelda's pantsuit or skirt suit, whatever you'd call it. We also touched on Sabrina's weird outfit that she wears to her babysitting job with Harvey, which is like a cream turtleneck under a black camisole and black pants. It looked good, but it kind of made her look like a child a little bit.
Well, it also looked pretty gothic.
A little bit, yeah.
And I mean, I guess it goes with the theme, obviously, witches, but they rarely wear that stuff. It's like bright, pantsuits.
And you also mentioned her like pea green blouse. For me, I think we have to give it to give the Back of the Linen Closet Award to Hilda and her ensemble that we saw when she comes in with the roller blahs.
Yeah.
In every way, it was bad. It was a bad combination of bad pieces forming a hideous outfit.
It just did not go at all.
Yeah, my eyes were not happy overall looking at that outfit. It made every bad other outfit look a little bit better by comparison, in all honesty. Mike, that's the episode. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
I hope you had a fun time. I thought this went really well.
I had a great time.
I would give this episode of Sabrina's Witch Trials a big Boy Meets World. You got it. Yeah. I'm just trying to make sure you'll come back later in the future.
Yeah.
Really fun time. Glad you came. Plug everything you want. Instagram, Twitter, anything you want to plug. Plug it all.
I will plug Al.
Thank you. Waiter.
Sabrina.
That's staying in, folks.
Oh, right. That was awkward. Sabrina's Witch Trials.
Yes. Allow me to do that if you don't mind, Mike. Facebook.com/Sabrina's Witch Trials if you want to follow us on Facebook. On Twitter @Sabrina Podcast. SoundCloud.com/Sabrina's Witch Trials if you want to listen to us on SoundCloud. You can also listen to us on TuneIn, Stitcher, the Google Play Store, the iTunes podcast section, or your favorite podcatcher, whichever one you want to use. Just search for Sabrina's Witch Trials there. You can also visit the blog where the actual direct links to the episode are online at sabrinaswitchtrials.com. Hard for me to say, even though I picked the name. You can also follow me at the Alex Aruju on Twitter. Don't follow me on Instagram, even though it exists, because I post like once every 9 months. Just when I remember to like be trendy and post on Instagram. I do it there, but I do it rarely, which is basically my life story. Mike, I want to thank you once again for being here. Whole lot of fun. Next episode, we'll be talking about Sabrina getting into even more of a problem, I guess is the word. Now that I've used all the words on this podcast and can't think anymore, when she tries to help her friends but ends up with some dire consequences in terrible things. That'll be 2 weeks from this episode going up. Thank you, everyone, once again for listening. And until next time, we will see you in the other realm.
Eddie Sabrian, Eddie Sabrian, Eddie Sabrian.
What am I doing here? I was just about to pull Hasselhoff out of a burning Corvette.
Oh, well, you can do that later. I was just kind of wondering if you would turn around for me.
Sure.
Thanks.
Is that it?
Yeah, unless you're into jigsaw puzzles. My aunts are working on one downstairs right now with Randy Travis.
Sounds like fun. Well, guess Hasselhoff will have to wait.
Wow, this magic thing isn't so bad.